What is up, y'all? This is TTC, aka the ThunderConductor. And what's up, EDH? We are back for another video, and this time, as usual, as you all know, we're going to be doing some monocolor fun, some Esper fun, a little bit of fun with everything. But today, I really want to focus on a really hot brew that I've been working on. I've been working on that MARNEUS CALGAR. Good stuff. Amazing. Oh my gosh, it's in the token. I freaking have been love playing this deck. I kid you not. It has been a blast. I kid you not. Y'all give me a second. It has absolutely been a blast playing this deck lately. I've been making a lot of big changes, but just to give you the overview of what Marneus does and how exactly it works, the Marneus is a 2 and Esper commander to cast, and it has double strike, so 3/5. Six per hit's not bad. You know what I'm saying? Kill somebody in 4 turns. If you have a way to pump it, that can turn to 3 turns, which is pretty nice. The build that we really like to see, though, is it's a draw engine in the command zone. So that Master Tactician ability says whenever 1 or more tokens enter the battlefield under your control, you get to draw 1 card. And the beautiful thing about this, because I can't play a commander that can't win in the command zone as well, is that Chapter Master ability that says pay 6, and you get to create 2/2/2 White Astartes warrior creature tokens with vigilance. And the way this interacts with the Master Tactician ability is you create the 2 tokens, you draw 1 card. You create the 2 tokens, you draw 1 card. So if I have infinite colorless mana with one of the many ways I have to create it, it allows me to do something really cool, which is called draw my entire deck. And I can win with Thassa's Oracle, Laboratory Maniac, Hullbreaker Horde, it's infinite possibilities. It's so cool. I really love it. It's been a blast playing it so far. So if you're not aware, like this, the general point of this deck is we want to, on turn 1 or 2, establish a draw engine and or a heavy stacks piece to slow the game down. Now, when we say slow the game down, we don't need turn 6 to 8. We need to get between turn 4 to 5. But right now, we are still kind of at the end of a very hard turbo meta. Even though we are going more mid-range, we still have a lot of turbo decks in the meta. Reunion Fire Dancer, Teferi Temple Archmage, Roxai, Sisse has turbo potential depending on what your opening hand looks like. It's a lot, especially because we don't have red in our color identity. Decks that have the potential to use Dockside can lean on our artifacts and our opponent's artifacts to really do explosive, disgusting things to win and open up possibilities to win earlier. So we want to get things down like Draneth Magistrate, which says you can't cast for any cards that aren't coming from your hand. We want to get things down like Dauntless Dismantler that makes all our opponent's artifacts get down. We maybe want to hold up an opposition agent. If it's turn 1, maybe take an opponent who we know is turbo off their first land drop. Or even we may want to get down a Orcish Bowmaster. So if our opponents are trying to get greedy with the card draw, we can say, okay, in response to your draw, now you have to decide, do you want to draw a bunch of cards and lose a bunch of life? Or do you want to, and also us make a large orc army? Or do you want to, maybe just hold off? If it's a risk study, I mean, they may have to start denying triggers depending on their play style and all that. So, guys, and of course we have good old Shieldred. Been loving this card in the deck. We don't run any wheels in this deck, but it just is great because this deck loses so much life naturally off the pain lands and other effects in this, like Toxic Deluge, War Wipes, other things that just lose life. Not to mention we're in the black color identity, and a lot of times when you play black as a color, people will naturally just swing at you because you have things like Imperial Seal, Vampiric Tutor, and other thing, and Toxic Deluge that use your life total. So you're more likely to take just passive damage as the game goes on. And what Shieldred basically says is, not only am I penalizing my opponents for doing which is the meta, which is drawing cards, I also get to make sure I stay in the game as I draw my cards, and I can get to that turn 5, 6, 7 if there's another stacks piece, or it's just really a slow, groggy game. We don't just die and have to be forced to make a less optimal win attempt because our life total is getting too low. Absolutely love this card. And of course, Talion is a passive, it's a draw engine, but also honestly, it's stacks potential. If you name, I have found, I agree with the community, 2 is the best number. If you cast this off and you cast it on turn 1 or turn 2, which is actually pretty easy in our deck, we can turn 1 Imperial Seal, get some mana rocks down, and just cast this turn 2. Really start to make people think before they cast that Dockside or try to go infinite with so many other things. So just so much to think about, but it's something really cool. As we can continue to go, it looks like, oh, your stacks deck. Okay, no. we have light stacks pieces, but we're really more leaning onto that mid-range stacks a little bit. But we also have a control package in this deck, so we have everything from the cEDH staples of Offer You Can't Refuse, Delay because there's a lot of creature combos. We also have some spot removal in Cyclonic Rift and Chain of Vapor. We also have right here we have the Fierce Guardianship, the Fluster, the Force Negation, Force of Will, Mana Drain, Mental Misstep, Mind Break Trap, Pact to Negation, and all the sort. Even we have Trick Bind. We'll be bringing this one up early. A couple switch outs we have the Trick Bind and also Swan Song, and also Silence and Path to Exile. All spells to find the perfect time to interact to either prevent a win or slow our opponent's massive draw engines down, because we want to stay at the top of the pinnacle when it comes to who has the most draws, who is really coming in here and doing their thing. And so we have a massive artifact package. So oof hurts us, but not really. We're mid-range. We run in 28 lands. We really don't mind too much if we get an oof down, because like it's slowing everybody down. We'll get past it. Our main thing is to make sure that if the game goes long, can we get a draw engine down to capitalize on our opponents being slowed down? And that's the point of it. We're a mid-range deck. We have a lot of fun things. We have a lot of synergistic pieces as well, like with Smothering Tithe or Monologue Tax, that every time they trigger and put a token to the battlefield, we draw a card. So being able to make a treasure token and then draw a card right after that, like, my guy, come on. Get right, keep it tight. I don't know what to tell you. That's good. That's powerful, okay? Of course, I'm running the Mystic Studies and Mystic Remorse, but I really do love our Commander synergy with Monologue Tax. And of course, we have like just a basic Esper land base, nothing special. It's just to the point, running all our talismans, running our basic mana rocks that come in the colors. And so yeah, this is the gist of it. When it comes to win cons, if you would like, check out my list. Link is in the bio in our Moxfield, where you can find all the basic win cons. The whole point is you want to find an infinite mana or draw engine, and then you want to have an outlet and finisher. So when it comes to our infinite mana or draw engines, we have Isochron Scepter, and Dramatic Reversal that will allow you to create infinite mana. You have Hullbreaker Horror and 2 mana rocks that can net or generate mana to bounce each other to make infinite mana, infinite cast, and infinite non-land permanent bounces. And we also have Teferi Time Raveler and Displacer Kindred, and a 0 mana rock or net positive net mana rock in order to draw our entire deck. And the cool thing about that one is, because if you're not familiar with Teferi, it's basically a silence. It's a silence on the stick that also is a combo piece. So I absolutely love this. The toughest part is landing it. What's up, Zulu? What's up, Zulu? The toughest part is landing it, but once you land it, it's actually not too bad. It's not too bad at all. I'm going to be fully transparent. So, especially if you're patient, this deck is trying to win after. So if we're the first ones trying to win, I'm talking about it better be turn 2 Thassa's Consultation with maybe even still one piece of counter magic. I've had some play tests where that still happened. All right, so once we create our infinite mana, our infinite cast triggers, our infinite non-land untaps, all these infinites, or even draw our entire deck, now you're sitting there, okay, what do I do now? Well, the cool thing is, if first of all, like I said, combo in the command zone. If we have our infinite mana and we have MARNEUS CALGAR on board, we can draw our entire deck and make infinite 2/2 white Astartes warrior creature tokens with vigilance. But if you want to go the infinite creature win route and wait one turn and untap, wouldn't recommend that. But if you want to go that route, you have to remember that MARNEUS is not a May ability. So in response to you drawing the last few cards in your deck, you may want to you have to remove your MARNEUS from the battlefield with a Swords of Plowshare or Chain of Vapor or some type of effect, so you don't draw yourself out with the infinite mana. But if you put all the triggers on the stack, they will resolve and make infinite creature tokens. Now, another way is if we have infinite non-land untaps and infinite mana with with infinite non-land permanent bounces, for example, with Hullbreaker Horror, or for example, with Isochron Scepter Dramatic Reversal, we can use the One Ring to basically draw most of our deck, which is really, really, really broken. I'm gonna be honest. One Ring is just showing that, honestly, the question that I keep asking myself is the One Ring better than Mystic Study? And we have you talking about the Teferi Infinite Turn cheese. Not the Teferi Infinite Turn one, the Teferi Time Raveler. So how it works is, if you have Teferi Time Raveler and Displacer Kin, and then a 0 mana rock, you can if you have all these pieces on board, you can -3 Teferi to bounce a 0 mana rock, recast the recast that 0 mana rock or net positive rock to trigger Displacer Kitten. It will flicker your Teferi, and every time you -3, you're drawing 1 card because that's just part of the ability. And you do that over and over and over until you draw your library. And you get to do whatever the fuck you want. That was a nasty combo that won by a couple games with Atraxa. Yes, exactly. Atraxa uses this combo. Yes, 100%. So to finish out, like I was saying, the One Ring, I question a lot whether this card is actually better than Mystic Study. What I find a lot of times, even if I can drop a Ristic Study on turn 1 or turn 2, it's crazy. Like, people will see it as a stacks piece and just pay it, which isn't a problem, because that means they're playing slower, and we need the game to go, well, not need, but we prefer if the game can go a little bit longer to that turn 4, turn 5. But the thing is, though, we'll be sitting there with no cards in hand, but still be seen as the biggest threat. And until someone goes for the win because no one's been looking at them, we don't get the cards we need. And even when we get the cards, they're not always guaranteed to be the combo pieces or the control pieces we need to make sure that we get back to our winning turn. So the one thing I like about the One Ring is, even though it does cause you to kind of play more aggressively, because you are forced to, in a very serious way, like once your life total gets so low, I've talked about that. That's why we are playing the Children in this deck. Your life total gets low. All it takes is a couple swings from a big beefy Atraxa or a Tivit or some other big beefy Sisay Weatherlight Captain to just finish you off, and you'll have nothing to say about it. The One Ring is still in the place where your opponents, unless they have a oof or a removal spell for it, they can't tell you don't draw. You know what I'm saying? Even with an Orcish Bowmaster, you can take the damage to the face as long as your draws are really impactful and you make sure you pace yourself and don't just run into that damage. You can politic with your opponents, wait to activate your ring and be like, your opponents be like, oh, like when an opponent has like a Ranger Captor on board and they're about to untap your turn, you say, hey, I can tap my ring and draw 3 cards. You can clear the Ranger Captor on their turn because I think they're going to try to go for a win on their turn. And so it puts them in that position where you can politic and be like, okay, they're like, okay, fine. Now you just saved yourself 3 life and you've taken a Ranger Captain off your opponent's board if they're trying to untap. Let's see. Zeus said, I feel like in the early game, Ristic Study is better since it's completely irrelevant in mid to late game since everyone pays their taxes. Yeah, that's how I felt. And I actually had a game recently where it was a 4-person pod. I was going third, and player 1 and player 2 had One Rings, and player 3 and player 4 had Ristic Studies, and all 4 of those were cast on turn 2. And I had won the game because player 2 went for a very bad window, and it was like the epitome of a win after. That's what the deck does. But it's very much a thing where it sucked because the only tough thing is player 1 had so much mana to play with. He was using it as a stacks piece where even though I had that turn 2 Ristic, for like at least a turn and a half to 2 turns, I was sitting there with less than 5 cards. And these One Rings were just drawing cards. But as I said, though, as well, I was able to get an Orcish Bowmaster down and pressure their life totals to force them to play less optimally. That's how you kind of battle the One Ring. You got to force them to play less optimally if they're untapping with the One Ring and not doing tap untap and shenanigans with it. So it's the question of which is better. Really, it's very much pod dependent. I think on a blanket statement, I personally stand by that. I think I would rather have a turn 1 One Ring than a turn 1 Ristic. I feel like the not giving your opponents a choice whether you're paying or not is just really good to me. On the flip side, in this deck, there may be the argument that can be made of, yo, you want the game to go long, so even if you're not getting cards, slowing the game down is good. Because we're not a turbo deck. Unless we go Thassa's Consultation turn 1, turn 2, we're not turboing out a win. We want to get a lot of cards to control stacks and then present a protected win on turn 4, turn 5. So just things to think about. Yeah, do you think it could be, Zulu says, do you think it could be a deck situation decision? Like if I was running a low CMC commander, I'd use One Ring, but if I had a high CMC commander, I more often use Ristic. That's a good question. That's a really good question. I think it's less about the size and the mana cost of the commander and more on the strategy. Like if I'm trying to be turbo, I absolutely don't want my opponents paying for my Ristic Study because I want a lot of cards really fast. So I may lean to the One Ring. And you can be turbo with, for example, Crom Tavesh, and those are both 5-mana commanders. Maybe not the first plan I would go with, but it's possible because you're in Grixis. On the flip side, you have Kennen, for example, where Kennen is a 2-mana commander that can win turbo, but more wants to present that really protected win. And they have synergies with the One Ring, but they may actually not mind that you're paying for all the Ristics because they have something to do with all the mana they're creating. And in addition, they can also they want that mid-range, super protected Basalt or whatever, or Tide Spout or Hullbreaker win. So I think it's just dependent more on the play style of the deck. We have Exiled Steam 2. Hello, sorry for bothering you. We're gonna ignore that. All right. Let's get rid of that one right there. Let's get rid of that because that's just foolishness. If I can, yeah, there we go. Yeah, we're gonna ignore that one because let's see. Yeah, just ignore that. We're just gonna ignore that. But back to our outlets and finishers, to get to the epitome of the One Ring versus the Ristic Study. I think they're both, at this point, they've both made themselves become goated draw engines, especially if you can get them down earlier. You know, of course, we have Talion and other things that kind of like Fish, for example, Mystic Remora and Talion are great cards to get down. But if we're talking about the best, depending on your deck, one may be better. So since I'm more control mid-range in this deck, I may want the Ristic, but the inner turbo player in me sees people drawing cards early and like, oh my gosh. But I have to understand that it's not just about drawing cards early in the game. It's about what can you do with those cards, and can you win through a Ristic Study even though you've drawn 10 cards over 3 turns, because you draw 1 on the first turn, 2 on the next one, and 3 on the next, and that's 6 plus the regular draws for turn and any of the miscellaneous. That's anywhere from 9 to 10 cards. Don't let it get to turn 4, then we're getting towards the 15 to 20 card range if you can do some more untap and tap shenanigans. But if you can't win through a Ristic Study with all those cards you've drawn, now it's all pointless. That makes Ristic Study better. So it depends. It's a tough one. Ristic Study being a stacks piece really makes people think. But our final outlets and finishers are, if you can draw your entire deck, for example, with Teferi, Displacer Kit, and you can use Demonic Consult, you can draw your deck or use Demonic Consultation or Tainted Pact with Thassa's Oracle, and you can just win the game. Thassa's Oracle, we're all aware of what it does. It basically says that if your devotion is equal to or less than your devotion of blue, the cards in your library are if the cards in your library are equal to or less than your devotion to blue, then you win the game. Purely straight, simple, gets the job done. There's nothing else to talk about. You just win the game. I've actually been thinking about possibly either switching this out with Laboratory Maniac or adding Laboratory Maniac because of the fact that we can get drawn out and killed with Demonic Consultation. However, I do understand I do respect and agree a bit of the school of thought of be cognizant that Thassa's Oracle is not doing anything for you until you're winning the game. Demonic Consultation is not the best tutor. I wouldn't even see it as a tutor. It's a win con and like, oh shit, I'm about to lose. Let me go find a Force of Will or a Mind Break Trap or some shit. But even then, you're basically possibly losing the game if you exile your entire library by exiling the chosen card at the first card. So just something to think about. But I do love Thassa's Oracle because it opens up that turbo potential. Like I said, I'm a turbo player at heart. So to have that thing, like if I have a juicy hand, like a lot of mana and a Tainted Pact, I can literally, in a tutor, I can go find Thassa's. Or if I have a Thassa's, a lot of mana and a tutor, I can go find Consultation or Tainted Pact and present that turn 2 win out of nowhere, where they don't always have it. Sometimes you just got to make your opponents have it. And sometimes if you have protection on top of that, you better just get out here. I don't know what to tell you. It's over at that point. So with that said, our very last outlet and finisher is, since we are mid-range and we can at times go long, when a lot of spells are being slung, a lot of spells are going to the graveyard. And so if we find that our opponents have really filled graveyards, we can win with Mnemonic Betrayal. And the cool thing about Mnemonic Betrayal is as it says, it exiles all the cards in your opponent's life in your opponent's graveyards, and you get to cast them all this turn. Now, exiles itself, so you can't do this every turn. It's a one-off. But I've actually just the last game I played, I won with someone else's dual caster mage twin flame combo because it was in their graveyard, and I didn't have to search or nothing. I had Ranger Captain protection, but one of my opponents had an opposition agent. So all I did was once I silenced the board, I casted a bunch of spells to be in order to get my mana up. I just cast Dark Ritual, Cabal Ritual, and all these other things, and then just got Mnemonic Betrayal out and presented a dual caster mage twin flame combo in my first main phase to go to combat and swing for infinite. So I think this is it. This one is, I want to be honest, it does feel like a dead card in turn one. I don't know if I would want to keep this card in opening hand, but if I see this card turn up on a turn 2 and turn 3 and I start looking at graveyards, I'm like, oh shit, like this ain't too bad. Like I'm starting to see some potential. And you really can just do some very disgusting things with it. So I've already had a game with it when I won, and it was fucking crazy. Now, the last thing I want to bring up about this deck is I am very familiar with combo lines with my Rionia Fire Dancer deck. The biggest thing I love about Rionia Fire Dancer is that I can see one card, like for example Imperial Recruiter or Goblin Matron, and there's a line I can go down to completely just win the game. And so I went down in the think tank, and that mono red player in me just said, what card can I use out of all these cards in my deck in order to say, if I see this one card, how can I win the game? Not when I got 2 cards, not 3 cards. I want to see one card. Is there one card I can tutor? There's one card that I can draw to win the game. And so I thought about it, and I came to the conclusion that out of all these cards, the one card that you can use that needs 0 setup. You just need this card, and honestly, just a shit ton of mana that can either come from lands, treasures, anything. The only setup is you needing mana. I found that Wishclaw Talisman is that one card. So what Wishclaw Talisman is Wishclaw Talisman enters the battlefield with 3 wish counters on it. You can pay 1, tap it, remove a wish counter from Wishclaw Talisman, search your library for a card, and then put into here, then shuffle. An opponent gains control of Wishclaw Talisman, and you can only activate it during your turn, but it's okay. Because the whole point is I want to win in one explosive turn. It's turn 4, 5, or 6. I'm sitting on top of 10, 15 mana just from Smothering Tide triggers and all these disgusting things, just 6 lands and Mana Rock, Smothering Tide, and just I made a clone of somebody's dockside, and I'm just sitting here just on a shit ton of mana. How can I win the game? Well, on my upkeep, I'm a Vampiric Tutor, a Wishclaw Talisman, or I'm a Demonic Tutor, a Wishclaw Talisman. And as you can see here, if you check my prime out, you can see the express details, but we have 2 lines as of right now that get you the win. First, a Wishclaw Talisman to Fairy Time Raveler combo, and we have the Wishclaw Talisman Hullbreaker Horror combo line. Now, I have them on screen. If you would like, take a second. Let me move this down a little bit. Yeah, take a second, take a screenshot at home. You know, you could check it out and read it, or please go down, link in the bio. If you're on YouTube, side note, if you're on YouTube, make sure you're subscribed. If you're on Twitch, make sure you follow. But take a quick screenshot right here. These are how you do it. Both of these are basically where I can go, where if I have a shit ton of mana, I go Wishclaw Talisman, and if y'all don't have interaction, I'm going to do a lot of chain them spells, and I'm just going to win the fucking game. And they're using the lines that we used before, but the point is that mana is not a hard setup. 2-3 cards can be a hard setup, especially when if we see our setup pieces, we have to find Isochron Scepter and Dramatic Reversal, Hullbreaker Horror, and we have to have 2 mana rocks to Fairy Time Raveler, to Spacerkin, and the other things, or even just Tainted Pact or Enthasis or Demonic Consultation Enthasis. So knowing that if, say, I gotta find one card right now, I have a shit ton of mana, but I have no win con, knowing that you can go straight for the Wishclaw Talisman and put something together is really powerful. Zulu says, is it worth the risk though? Like if someone counters the win con from a Wishclaw, then you're SOL. Well, that is part of the risk. I don't think this is the combo you go for on a turn 2 or turn 3. Like, say you were to copy a dockside and in Magical Dreamland, this has actually happened in games before, made 11 or 12 treasures. This is not the win con I go for unless you had 2 or 3 counter spells in hand, which can happen. But this is definitely a win con, especially the Teferi version of this line, that you will want to do under a silence effect. That be Grand Abolisher, Ranger, Captain of Eos, and let's actually bring these up here. You want to do this under like a Teferi Time Raveler. You will want to do this under a Grand Abolisher effect, under a Ranger, Captain of Eos, or if you have a silence. This is not a win con that I just pull naked. I don't have anything. Also the thing to remember is Wishclaw's Talisman is scary because you're giving another opponent a tutor. But if you have an opposition agent, then it don't really matter. Even if you get stopped, they have to remove your opposition agent in order to tutor. And the thing is, though, you have to remember there's 4 players, you and 3 opponents. And say if I'm player 1 and player 2 has, I just gave them my Wishclaw Talisman, everyone stops me. Even if I'm out of counter magic, and if player 2 tries to remove my opposition agent, player 3 and 4, if they have the ability, they're going to stop them. Or if they have the counter magic, they're going to stop whatever they tutored for. Like if they want to get the Wishclaw and try to get it then, and then after that, stop the tutored card. So it's a group game. It's a bit of psychology. It's a bit of understanding. But I definitely think both of these lines are very much viable as long as you have a silence effect to back them up. The big one is, for example, like this is the best one just because part of the combo is a silence effect. But the whole breaker whore is definitely a thing where like, oh, my opponents are tapped up. I have a window. Someone has just tried to win. I'm going for this window. And say, for example, I want to get rid of a bunch of stacks pieces and I want to instep whole breaker whore and then start bouncing a bunch of stacks pieces or something along the line to go for it. I may go for more of the whole breaker line. And if I have the counter magic along with the whole breaker triggers to bounce spells off the stack and other things, is just really powerful. So these are cool things. Like I said, take a second, screenshot them if you're interested in seeing all the details. I go very, very much into the weeds, making sure that you can get everything you need to know about these combos. Last thing before we go into our gameplay, I want to tell you all my current updates. So starting from the very top, we switched out Angel's Grace. We originally took out Dress Down to put in Angel Grace. Split second is powerful. I wanted to check out the possibilities behind, like being able to stop myself from dying from a pact, or stop an early turn 1 or 2 Thassa's with 1 white mana. Really powerful. However, it didn't happen where it was bad, but I found in the games I was playing, I saw that if I had to, I had the counter magic, but if I had to choose between Trick Bind and Angel's Grace, I'd rather have Trick Bind if I could be fully transparent with you. It was so many times, and if you're not familiar with Trick Bind, let's pull it up real quick. Trick Bind is very, very powerful, and basically what this spell says is it is a colorless and a blue, split second, and you get to counter target activated or triggered ability. And if it's a permanent ability that's countered this way, it can't be activated again. That permanent's activated ability can't be activated again that turn. Now, if they already have infinite mana, they can just pass the turn and win on somebody's upkeep. But this can actually be very disabilitating if you can Trick Bind and then another person can remove it. Now they have to wait till their next turn to try to salvage some type of win after that, and it can be very, very good. Even with the amount of card draw that we have, we can just counter the ability at split second so no one can interact with it, and then remove it while they're still under that effect where they can't use the ability. So I made that switch out. I think that's better for the control package we have. Also, because we don't have a lot of white and black permanents, I added Iganjo in for Vault of Champions. I love the Battle Bond lands, I really do, but I like Iganjo being another interactive spell. It does take us a little off black, but with healthy mulligans and with our mana rocks, we should be good. We have Zulu Sand, but is it viable in the deck? Not only do you need Wishclaw, but you'll probably also need tutors, and you'll need Teferi and Displacer. You need to be protected by silent spells. It's easy to counter if an opponent has their own opposition agent. Okay. So I want you to read the primer, Zulu. So, okay. You're asking such good questions. Dang it. Okay. I'll go back down, and I'm actually going to break those down a little bit. And I actually read the primer real quick because I actually talk about that. I'm going to finish this first, but Thank you, Zulu. You asking amazing questions. Y'all, shout out to Zulu in the chat. He's asking such good questions. I'm going to finish this up and we're going to come back to that. So we have Iganjo here. I put that in Overvault to the Champions. Not that I don't need the black, but my main colors are blue, and white and black are more support colors in this deck. And I love that Iganjo can be a removal spell if I need it. And people get, cocky with throwing their stacks pieces or their other things. They're swinging those at you because they don't think you have anything, or they have a protector, or they have a counter spell, and they're not prepared for that Iganjo. So this is very much a gotcha card. Also, and I also put that over Verdant Catacombs. Now, recently, I did take out Winds of Abandon. I took out Dam over Winds of Abandon, but then I took Winds of Abandon out over Isochron Scepter. I added the Dramatic Reversal Isochron Scepter line in this deck. I did that because this deck was doing great at controlling the game, but it did not have enough outs. And adding one more mana outlet to make infinite mana was so fucking good. It was just ridiculous. Like the minute I took I took out another board wipe, I took out the Archivist of Aghaman, like, oh, you're taking out a draw engine, TTC. It's okay. We have enough draw engines, and Archivist is more of a complementary draw engine where it's good and in addition to something else. But to be able to have this Dramatic Reversal as a way, like, oh, I'm in a counter war and I'm running out of mana, let me Dramatic Reversal, untap all my rocks, and I can keep going in the counter war. Or an example for the Isochron Scepter, I don't have to imprint a Dramatic Reversal. I can imprint a Mana Drain. I can imprint a Trick Bind, which is evil, but I can do it. It's any 2-drop instant. So all these Chain of Vapors and Dark Rituals and Offer You Can't Refuse, those are not very, please don't imprint a Chain of Vapor. You will give somebody the game because they will just bounce your Isochron. Well, you may actually need that, neither here nor there. But you have the Flusterstorm you can imprint. You have Enlightened Tutor you can imprint. You have so many options. Big one that comes to mind is Mana Drain. It just is so scary to be at any time to be able to Mana Drain something. So these are both cards that are good by themselves, but together, of course, make infinite mana with a little bit of setup. And I took out Muddle the Mixture. Even though I love Muddle in the Mixture, I added in Beseech with the Mirror. We are still a control deck, but the 2 blue and a white for a sorcery speed tutor that is really slow. When we can go Beseech the Mirror, we make a lot of tokens. Beseech basically says we have the bargain that lets sacrifice an artifact, an enchantment, or a token, which we make a shit ton of tokens to be able to search something and then cast it for free if it's mana value 4 or lower. So we did that. Keep going. We got Chain of Vapor or Swords of Plowshare. I love swords, but I wanted a bounce anything thing, and I can win without my commander. I actually won my last 2 games without even casting my commander, so I don't mind if they bounce my commander. I don't need to win. Adding in Copy Artifact over Imposter Mech. One of my friends recommended. I'm just play testing it. Imposter Mech not being able to copy your own creatures is a thing to be conscious of. But Copy Artifact being able to copy a rock or a One Ring, or for example, we have Phyrexian Metamorph, so copy common. I actually had a game where I copy artifacted someone Phyrexian Metamorph first copy of an Orcish Bowmaster, and I killed their Orcish Bowmaster with my copy artifact version of their Phyrexian Metamorph Orcish. So it was real cool, and it's actually it's been doing good. We also had Shieldred over Boromir. Boromir, it was a cool stacks piece, stopping people from casting free spells, but Shieldred it's just better in the deck. Also, this one is basically, it's almost like it's not a dead card. It's a card that I'm really just sitting there and just like, okay, oh, you can't cast free spells, but the minute someone tries to win, not to sack it. Yeah, it protects my creatures, but I'm like, I don't need my creatures to win. It's fine. So Shieldred is actively just really good in helping our deck do what I do. We have Zulu saying, what is your opinion on Lorien Revealed since you're in blue? Ooh, very good question, Zoo. I heard it seeing more high level play in the island cycling ability, so I slide it into my Morphon deck. Very, 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 very. Let's see. Oh yeah, okay. So I actually, that's Lorien's in my considering pile. I really, really love the idea of it, especially my mono blue deck. The only reason I'm not running it right now and it's still in my considering pile is because as of right now, paying 5 mana to see 3 cards is, even though you can go down the land and it's really good, and it's probably like, when I want to go down to 27 lands, that is the first card I'm adding. As of right now, I'm still in that spot where I'm like, Kyle, let me just stay at 20. Let me stay at what's it called? 28 lands and kind of just really fill it out, because I have so many draw engines where I'm like, I don't need to pay 5 mana to draw, and it's kind of like but the counter argument is the ability to flipping have another spell to pitch to your force wheel or force negation is just goated. So it's actually a card that I'm not against, and I'm gonna be honest, kind of talking it through, I actually may want to go down to 27 lands and add in Lorien Revealed. So I actually really like that spell, especially like I said in my mono blue deck. It's fucking great. Like I can keep one lander so fast because of it. So definitely something to think about. And islands are goated because you need blue for counter magic. Zulu also says down here, from my experience, I actually rotated out Igandro because most of the time I was using it as a land drop. It is just a skill issue and should I just hold? It is just a skill issue, and should I just hold onto it? I think it's similar to how you play with Boseiju. Like, there's a universe where you want to hold on to Boseiju because you know you're playing against a stacks player, or you're expecting to see a breach from Tim the Crom, soon Blue Farm. But at the same time, you have to progress your own game plan. So if I lose Iganjo to a land drop and I can't remove something later, it's okay, because that's not my only remove spell. It's just a spell that also is a land. So I don't know if it's a skill issue. I would only say it's a skill issue if you see someone like they just tutored, for example, if they just tutored for a breach and you play Boseiju as a land drop, that's a skill issue, because I'm like, dude, you could have you could have stopped them. Like, unless they had a deflecting swap, they weren't going to stop Boseiju. But at that point, it's just something to think about and be cognizant about, that it's not particularly a bad card, but if you just want another removal spell and your deck isn't super wide, if you already have all your blue sources taken care of and you have all your multicolored lands and you just want to add in another slot, I like Iganjo late game because I'm making my land drops with so many cards. So that's my opinion on the Iganjo land. And thus far, since I've been playing it, I haven't used it as a removal spell because I already have so many removal spells and counter spells. I haven't needed to use it, but I do love the idea of it as having it as like the last line defense. I'm just in the middle of just a bullshit counter war, and it's like, all right, I have nothing else, and they need to go to combat with Tymna to draw the card to like break it's Doomsday. People create it's Doomsday. I will show you all this here. Doomsday MTG is a card that when you cast it, you basically are winning the game. So Doomsday says it's a 3 mana drop sorcery that says search your library and graveyard for 5 cards and exile the rest. Put the chosen cards on top of your library in any order. You lose half your life, rounded up. So what a lot of times in these kind of doomsdays, they make doomsday piles. And so they'll put 5 cards in a pile, and you need something to crack the pile. So in order to crack the pile, a lot of people will use, for example, a Tymna, for example, to hit somebody who doesn't have a blocker. And we are sometimes that person, because I don't prioritize casting my commander if I don't need it to draw. Like if I have a Rhystic Study or a One Ring, I'm not running to cast my commander. It costs 5 mana. So what this can do is, and this is a little bit of a niche scenario, but it can be that last line defense. Like, fuck, they beat us in the counter war, but they need to crack their pile, or they crack their pile. Or, for example, I see like, oh, they're about to draw 3 cards off the Tymna. I have this extra land, Iganjo, that I don't need. I have mana for counter magic and Iganjo. I'm gonna go ahead and just for as little as 1 mana, I'm just gonna kill their Tymna and just call it the end of the day. And unless they have a deflecting swap, they can't stop me. You know what I'm saying? And so I really think the possibility is good. Not fully attached to this land, but its possibilities. Honestly, even if I find that I want to remove this land, I think this will be the perfect land to remove for Lorien's Revealed. I think this would be the land I would remove for it if I decide to remove anything, because making sure that I hit my land drops and I can aggressively mulligan even deeper, and in the super late game get the 3 cards, it depends. I think the choice is going to be dependent to, in the late game, do I need to remove creatures more often, or do I need to draw cards more often? That's going to be the choice enabler, because both are slightly mana intensive. Iganjo only being able to be used during combat is a little bad, but Lorien Revealed costing 3 colors and 2 blue is a little bad as well. So, but they can both be land drops. So Good man. Zulu, like, yo, shout out to Zulu in the chat, bro. Zulu's been asking great fucking questions, man. But we'll keep going. Beseech the Mirror is over Muddle the Mixture. Like I said, that's my pet card, but I was like, I took the spell out over Muddle the Mixture before it because I'm not a fan of the spell. I know it can counter instant spells. It feels like such a bad counter spell when you're not going against Turbo Nas decks. Like the minute you have somebody who is on who for even just cast a sorcery, you're just in there like, well, I guess pass, and they'll never fucking cast an instant. They'll cast a sorcery, speed, gamble, and then get their win con and never cast another instant. So we also got Chain of Vapor over Swords of Plaster. I already talked about that. Copy out of Brad Shieldred over Boromir. Pneumonic Betrayal. I took Grafdigger's Cage out over Pneumonic Betrayal because I didn't want to have Grafdigger's Cage and have to find a way to remove my own Grafdigger's Cage. So I'm running another win con over this stacks piece, but my counter package is pretty good. So I don't mind not having the Grafdigger's Cage. Mystical Tutor over Spell Snare. Once again, it's actually, I would run this over Dispel, but the nicheness of this counter spell kind of makes me a little like, I'm not really tripping over it. But I love Mystical Tutor, being able to get our win cons like a Dramatic Reversal or even Tutor for a Tutor. We can Mystical Tutor on an end step to go get a Demonic Tutor or whatever the heck we want. Talisman of Hierarchy over the Signet. One of my guys told me Signet suck. I agree. This was the original list. I'm just like, I'm not gonna fight. I'm not gonna fight on that hill. I added in a bunch of talismans. I added in Cabal Ritual over the other Signet that was an original list. I added in Takenuma, which this is a great land. I love Takenuma. Like being able to get a stacks piece out your graveyard that got removed is so freaking powerful. Or a Planeswalker, if they kill, you can cast an early. You can cast an early to fairy, and you're just literally sitting there like, I just want y'all to waste your attacks on this, and I want to be able to do some stuff on your turns while y'all can't interact. You know what I'm saying? And I don't mind that I'm the only one who can interact because I have the most counter magic. So yeah, I added that in over Bloodstained Mire. Like I said, it was lowering the fetch counters, the fetch lands in this deck. I added Grim Monolith over the Urza Saga. I love Urza Saga, but Grim Monolith, once I took out Grafdigger's Cage, it became less good. And so it just got Soul Ring and other mana rocks. I was like, I need to be able to cast turn two. I need to be able to cast turn two Marneus Calgars if I wanted to, which goes land, J-Lo, which I can't do that with Jewel Lotus. I couldn't do that with my Urza Saga because it generates colorless. Talion over Fairy Mastermind. Like I said, I've taken out a lot of these supplementary or these complementary draw engines like Fairy Mastermind or Archivist Augment. They're not bad, but they're better when you have them in conjunction with something else. Like, oh, I have a Fairy Mastermind and an Orcish Bowmaster and Marneus online, or with a Smothering Tithe. They're not great draw engines by themselves. So getting down to turn one Fairy Mastermind or turn one Archivist never feels as good as it should. And it's like, it's not bad, but it's like, it never really blows me away. Also acting in Dauntless Dismantler against Containment Priest. I just think the general meta is better in shutting people artifacts down than trying to shut down their ability to put creatures onto the battlefield from from a pod effect, or from like a Kinnan, or a other effect that cheats creatures, or Sisay, for example. But even, for example, Sisay can get around this by just tutoring up Planeswalkers. We also have Charismatic Conqueror. I did that over Monastery Mentor. Not that Monastery Mentor is bad. I just think I always wanted to play around Charismatic Conqueror. I think it's a fine card, if I can be honest. I am just not a big fan of like the May ability, but even then, like once you start drawing cards, it's still a playtest card. I think it has crazy potential because no one's gonna tap all the Dockside treasures for this, so it is. And last thing, I added in a Spell Pierce over Pact of Negation, or a Pact of Negation over Spell Pierce. Like I said, it's one mana counter spell is good if I can pay my way out of it. Which after turn 1 and 2, I'm like, this is not gonna do anything. So Pact of Negation, it's a hard counter anything. I don't care that I can't use it on turn 1 or turn 2 because I have other counter spells and other pieces of interaction that I can use or draw myself into it turn 1 or turn 2. So, but for our guy, we have to go back and I have to answer Zulu's question. So very good point that Zulu brought up earlier is he said, do I want Consecrated Sphinx? It seems like a great draw engine, but also has a high cost. Dude, y'all, fucking Zulu keeps asking fucking great questions. God damn it, fuck. Yo, like, dude, I fuck with you today. Damn. Dude, okay, all right. Before I go back to your other question, I'm gonna answer this question you just asked. Do I run Consecrated Sphinx? You brought up the exact reason. So I don't run Consecrated Sphinx right now. I found that, and this isn't just because I played against it a lot. I don't run it not because it's not a bad card, but it's an auto remove card, and I don't want to force my opponents to have to remove my Consecrated Sphinx because I'm going to win the game. Because if you go one turn rotation around with Consecrated Sphinx, you're going to win the game. It's just you don't lose with it. And so for me in my play style, I would rather throw down, for example, a Talion that may draw cards slower, or a Smothering Tithe Marneus, or a One Ring over a 6 mana drop that people are going to have to prioritize remove, or else I win the game. Versus those cards, they're like solid draw engines. They're doing their thing. And it's like, I'm already drawing enough cards. Like, I don't need it to win, but I do think it's a great haymaker. I talked to another Marneus pilot, and he does run it, the Consecrated Sphinx, which is it's a good card, but like I said, it's a high cost. It's 6 mana, and if it either doesn't resolve, I've just wasted 6 mana. Even though we make a lot of mana, it's still wasted 6 mana. And even if it does resolve, someone could be literally holding a Swords to Plowshares to hold up against a Kennen or a Kenrith or some other thing to stop a player from winning. And now they have to use it against me, because I think a lot about the psychology when I play. And I'll use this to actually back up what I'm saying. So before I took Isochron Scepter out over Winds of Abandon. Now I'm still running Toxic Deluge, but I love Winds of Abandon because it's so cool, because cEDH players are greedy and they don't run a lot of basic lands unless they're 1 or 2 color decks. But even then, you can catch people off guard. 2 color decks are even too greedy right now. You have to literally monocolor decks are the only deck that are really benefiting from that overloaded Winds of Abandon. However, I put my pride to the side, and I put my personal feelings to the side, because if you could see it, the overloaded cost for Winds of Abandon costs 4 colorless and 2 white. And this costs 6 mana. I am literally time walking myself when I wipe the board, and I'm not gaining the benefit of being able to go 3 mana wipe the board and hold up counter magic, or 3 mana wipe the board and progress my board state, or 3 mana wipe the board, kill all the stacks creatures, and then go for my Thassa's win or whatever other win I want to go for. So that time walking effect of paying 6 mana and not getting the full benefit of it is, for me in my play style, I just choose not to run it. Even though I love Winds of Abandon, it's a very powerful card, I just had to let that one go. I love Consecrated Sphinx. I just don't like the idea of wasting 6 mana and having to force people to take a game action because it's Consecrated Sphinx. And in cEDH, it's an auto win if you get to around the turn. Now to resist that take, yeah, it's auto removed once it has the field, but my deck is a commander-centric deck. I'd rather have someone blow a path to exile or Swords to Plowshare, etc., to draw attention away from my commander. Very good. Okay. I hear you, Zoo. Now, I like that perspective a lot. And I actually, because you brought up this kind of leans on that psychological, like thinking about how people think. If I have a super high commander-centric deck and I am like literally saying like, yo, I need my commander to win, or my commander really like is the build around for my deck, then actually it's a win-win. So it's like, oh, if my Consecrated Sphinx stays on board, I win the game. Oh, if my Consecrated Sphinx gets removed, it doesn't matter because I win the game because I have my commander still. So I actually like that position, and I actually think that is a good reason to run Consecrated Sphinx if that is a card you want to run. I will say though, in addition to that, because I've actually had multiple games, like I brought this up earlier, the last 2 games that I won, I never casted my commander, not because there wasn't a draft. I just didn't need my commander. I like the first game I won, I got down Heuristic Study and won through all this crazy shit because I had a silence effect. This next game I won, I had a Mystic Remora on 3 and a 1 ring on board with Manamo. If you're not familiar with Manamo, Manamo is a land that untaps a legendary permanent, and the 1 ring is legendary. So I was like, in someone's instep, I drew 7 cards, untapped, drew another. On someone's instep, I drew 3 cards, and then on my upkeep, I drew another 4. Like literally, one of my guys was like, "Bro, you just drew 7 cards in between 2 main phases that wasn't your own." And I was like, eh. So, but I didn't. It was funny. But with that said, I didn't need my commander in order to win the game. So it was. I think you brought up a very good point, and for me, it makes me even kind of stand 2 toes even deeper into my position of, no, I probably won't be running Consecrated Sphinx because I don't need my commander. Like, unless my draw engine is a Smothering Tithe, a Marneus. At that point, now I've already dedicated 9 mana to connecting that engine. Now I need another 6 to distract. At that point, now I'm making everybody use their stuff against me when I'm like, I'd rather like have a backup engine. Like, okay, my Marneus Smothering Tithe engine is good, and I got counter magic up to protect it. You know what I'm saying? But you have to say, I won wins because my deck is an angel beat down, so that 1 solid board wipe is one of my sudden I win cards. Yeah, I like, and it's asymmetric too, because if the audience is not aware, Winds of Abandon, and this is why I agree, this is why I love Winds of Abandon too. It doesn't hit your permanents. That's actually why I didn't run Dam. Even though Dam does the same thing where it can hit a single target at sorcery speed or board wipe, there are times where I don't want people to. I don't want to have my board wipes because I have Italian, because my draw engine needs my commander on board. And even though I could recast my commander, I don't want to do that. You know what I'm saying? Because of Marneus's 5 toughness, a Toxic Deluge actually sits better in this deck, where I can pay for life, kill 99.9% of all the creatures on the board, and if I have to wipe the whole board, so be it. It's only 3 mana. I can recast Marneus if I want, because we are really good on mana generation. So yeah, I ain't gonna cap. It was really hard for me to remove wins, but I had to come to like those come to Jesus moments where I realized I had to add another way to be more synergistic with my commander, which is I had to remember my commander is an infinite mana outlet, and I wasn't respecting that by not running the Isochron Dramatic Scepter combo. So yeah, but dude, Zulu, once again, really great questions. But I have to go back to your earlier question before we get to gameplay. I know if you're still on YouTube, thank you so much for being patient. And while you're there, subscribe. If you're on Twitch and you are loving the live conversation, make sure to follow. We stream twice a week on Sunday evenings and on Monday evenings from 8:30 till we are done having a great night. So if you're loving the conversation, if you love what we do, make sure to like and subscribe, or make sure you follow and keep up with our bi-weekly streaming. And my guy Zulu says, if anything, wins should be critiqued because it gives opponents crazy land ramp. But when I'm swinging in with 10 to 20 to 30 plus angels power, does it really matter? No. And that's why I think, are you running that angel commander, that 2-drop angel? Is it Gahada or some other stuff? Angel commander. Is this the commander you're running? Just so the people know. Is this the commander you're running? Let's see. Is it Gahada? If I got this name right, I'm about to scream. I won't scream. Giada. Oh, not Gahada. Giada. Is it Giada? Font of Hope? Is this commander? Zoo? Let's see. Yeah, Giada. Yeah. So this is an example where actually Winds of Abandon is not just great, it's goated. Because I wouldn't want to run a Wrath of Gods. I wouldn't want to run Wrath of Gods because my commander is creature based. I'm building a big board state. But on the flip side, I don't need a bunch of mana because I don't have a lot of counter magic anyway. I just if I have 7 mana, let's tap out set 6, Winds of Abandon, wipe our opponent's board, and then that last man I can still hold up in a Mana Tithe or a Swords to Plowshare. I don't got counter magic anyway, so fuck it. And I can even still hold up free interaction like Solitude or other things. Like I think the white, what is a white commander card? It's like what is the Fierce Guardianship cycle? Yeah, it's one of these. What's the white one? That's what I want to see. because I wonder if this is actually viable. It's the Ikoria cycle. So deflecting swipe through the Deadly Relic. Is it Obscure Maze? Yeah, no, Flawless Maneuver. This is the card. So Flawless Maneuver says, if we can get a little bit more zoomed in, because I'm not seeing, I can't see that card. It says, if you control your commander, you can cast this spell without paying the mana cost. It gives your creatures indestructible. So I run Morifon the Boundless for 5 color. Okay. But I do include Giada in the list. I feel what you're saying. So yeah, like this, like I bring this up because like these are like free interactive spells that you can still run in the list if you want to go 5 color or other things, well, or like monocolor Giada or whatever not. But I say all that to say that's an example of where you want to have that Winds of Abandon effect. And let's actually make this just a tiny bit bigger. You want that Winds of Abandon effect in order to you want that Winds of Abandon effect because you want to keep your board state, and you, even though you have free interaction still, because you said that you're doing it in a Morphon the Boundless Angel tribal kind of deck, so you still have free interaction because you're playing blue, but because you're sticking to the board, you don't mind that you're tapping out because you're going to win the game with the swing out, which is great for the play style. I think in this deck and other decks that are looking more to combo, for example, because I'm more of a combo deck and using my control and sax pieces to get to that combo win, and my silence pieces like Teferi in order to silence the board out to like perform that protected win. Then at that point, I'm sitting in that time where I'm like, okay, I don't care if they have a bunch of creatures, but I do care about keeping mana up, because I've lost games because I didn't have enough mana up on board, and I was literally just like, dang, I have the counter magic to stop him from winning, and then I would have untapped a 1, but I have no more. I ain't got no more mana. I ran out of mana, and I had to find that, like, I had to let that one go. Unfortunately, the Winds of Abandon, I let that one go. But before we go to the gameplay, I really want to answer Zulu's earlier question when it came to the lines I brought up with the Wishclaw Talisman line, starting with the Teferi Time Raveler line. So my guy Zulu said, but is it viable in the deck? Not only do you need the Wishclaw, but you'll probably also need tutors, and you'll need Teferi and Displacer Kitten, and you need to be protected by silent spells. And it's easy to counter if an opponent has their own opposition agent. So this is the beauty behind this line. Let's go in deep. Let's go in deep, y'all. Get it, lock in. Let's go in deep. Okay. So how does the Wishclaw Talisman Teferi combo line work? So this combo line allows you to win in one explosive turn with Wishclaw Talisman in hand with 8 colorless mana, 2 black mana, 1 white mana, and 2 blue mana. And you need 1/0 mana. You need 1/0 mana / a net positive rock like Chrome Mox or Grim Monolith or Jewel Lotus, Lotus Petal, Mana Crypt, blah 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 blah. And you need one non-creature spell in hand with the mana and the mana to cast it. And this can be the 0 or net mana rock in your hand if it's in your hand. But if it's on the board, if the net mana rock is on the board, then you have to have another non-creature spell in order to start the loop with Displacer Kitten and Teferi. So how the combo works is on the winning turn, and let's redefine, before we get into this fully, redefine what a combo line is in TTC's definition. A combo line is when you can use one card and a lot of resources, as in mana in this example. So one card and a shit ton of mana to take that one card to a win. Not 2 cards, not 3 cards. No, a combo line is 1 card. So I count a combo line when it's your commander and 1 card. So for example, Rionia Fire Dancer, Combat Celebrant is a combo, but it's not really a combo line. Rionia Fire Dancer and, for example, Imperial Recruiter and maybe 1 instant sorcery. Now that's a combo line because the deck is a spell slinger deck, so 1 instant sorcery is not hard to do. And for this one, having so many non-creatures because we're a control deck, I count this as being a combo line. So all you need is Wishclaw, a shit ton of mana, and one non-creature spell to cast, and you get to do the whole line. So starting off, you want to cast Wishclaw Talisman. Simple. It's in your hand. You cast that for a colorless and a black. Now we go on to step 2. You want to immediately activate it using one colorless. Now you want to tutor Teferi, Time Raveler to hand and give Wishclaw to somebody else. It's still your turn, so they can't use it. But at this point, you've cast Wishclaw and you've tutored. So your opponents can probably interact only on the opposition agent on the tutor, or they could try to counter the Wishclaw, but you're good at this point. Now, this is the point of no return for your opponents, and this is the point where your opponents have to interact or they will lose. You're going to immediately cast Teferi for a colorless, white, and a blue. This is where you want to have some counter magic backup. This is where you are a control deck, a stacks deck, so having that counter magic backup is really, really powerful. So Teferi resolves. We're in perfect world where Teferi resolves. Most times, if you wait and you're winning after somebody, this works perfectly because at this point, most counter magic has been depleted and you're good. One or two pieces will get you there. We've cast Teferi and we're going to activate the -3 ability, targeting your own Wishclaw that is given to another opponent, and you'll return that your Wishclaw to your hand and you'll draw one card because that's just part of the ability. After that, you'll recast Wishclaw Talisman and you'll immediately reactivate it using one colorless. And this time, you're going to tutor Displacer Kitten to your hand, okay? So now you have Wishclaw goes to another opponent. You have your Teferi now at 1, and you just tutored Displacer Kitten to the hand, okay? Opponents cannot cast anything. They can channel things, but they can't cast any spells because you have Teferi Time Ravel on the board that says each opponent can cast spells only anytime they could cast a sorcery, and that means it's only during a main phase and when the stack is empty, and it's your turn, so they can't cast any spells unless they're channeling a Boseiju or an Odawara, okay? Which, and in this case, is really only Odawara because there's no artifacts that really matter other than the next part. We keep going. You want to cast the 0 mana net positive rock or the non-creature spell in hand to trigger Displacer Kitten, targeting Teferi, because at this point, you've already found Displacer Kitten, you've casted Displacer Kitten. Now you want to cast that 0 net mana or net positive mana rock, and you want to, or non-creature spell. You'll trigger Displacer Kitten and you'll target this Teferi Time Raveler and you'll reset its counters. Next, you are going to then reactivate Teferi because the counters are reset, minus it down 3 again to 1, and you're going to target this time your 0 mana or net positive rock, floating the mana in response if you can, and returning it to your hand and drawing a card. At this point now, you have what we like to call a loop, where now you can repeat steps 8 and 9 to draw your deck and win with one of the win cons listed in the finisher outlets that we talked about earlier in the section above, okay? So basically how this combo works, if I haven't already made it clear a billion times, is you have Teferi, Mana Rock, and Displacer Kitten. -3 Teferi, bounce the Mana Rock, cast the Mana Rock for free or with the excess mana if it's a net positive rock like Soul Ring. That'll trigger Displacer Kitten because it's a non-creature spell. Displacer Kitten will trigger target Teferi. It'll reset Teferi. You'll rinse, wash, and repeat and draw as much as your deck you want, and you just win with that. You have your whole deck. If you can't win with your whole deck, I don't know what to tell you. Your deck is not very good. Okay, so now you're like, okay, TTC, I see the light. This is such a cool thing. But we have to go back to Zulu's comment earlier because he made a very good comment. It's very disruptible. We're going to skip note 1 for a second, but we're going to go to note 2. My note 2 in this is this line does not work if one or more of the following common cEDH stable stacks pieces are on board, i.e. anything that hurts tutors, remove creatures' abilities, has artifacts intertapped, has hurts your mass draw, or prevents your large storm turns. And some examples of this are Aven Mind Sensor, Blind Obedience, Deafening Silence, Dress Down, Opposition Agent, Orcus Bowmaster, Collector Oof, Notion Thief, or anything akin to the listed, okay? However, if you have enough non-creature spells in hand to flicker Teferi Time Raveler and for his -3, so you can start bouncing those stacks pieces, or if you have other ways to remove these stacks pieces, for example, Odawara, Boseiju, Chain of Vapor, because you're under a silence effects, people can't interact with you. If you're able to bounce all those stacks pieces while you're protected, you're basically in a dome of yeah, you're stopping me, but not really. Like, okay, yeah, you made my Jewel Lotus in the inner tapped. You made my creature. It's a blind obedience. You made my creature inner tapped. You make my Jewel Lotus and it's tapped. That sucks. But as long as I can get my Wishclaw untapped that one time when I go for it, which is literally the epitome of, okay, if I, where you may have to adapt. If I have that one bounce for your, for example, opposite, or for your blind obedience, now I can recast my back on step 5, recast Wishclaw Talisman, and then it'll come in untapped and I can activate it again. Now I don't mind if you have a Wishclaw, and I don't mind if you have a blind obedience on board because it doesn't affect me. Now I don't mind if you have an opposition agent because if my silence effect resolves, I'm good. I don't care if you have this major stack speed that's stopping the combo because you're silenced and I can remove it. So this is a big, this note 2 is a big thing to think about this. It is good for the setup, so don't go for this combo if there's too many of these effects that are stopping you from winning. But at the same time, understand if there is 1, 2, or maybe 3, depending on how big your hand is and how much mana you have, there may be still a way to get past it. And we skipped note 1, but I'll just let you know this. This combo, note 1 basically says that this combo can be done cheaper, i.e. for 7 colorless, 1 black, 1 white, 1 and 2 blue, if on the winning turn by casting Wishclaw Talisman for 1 colorless and 1 black on the turn prior to the turn you plan on going for the combo line. So that basically says instead of just going for it all onto one turn, you can cast Wishclaw Talisman, hold up counter magic because you want to win after somebody. So you have Wishclaw Talisman and now someone else is trying to win and now you can go for that more protected win, which patience is good in this kind of deck. So before we move forward, that this kind of answers, like, you know, really Zulu's great question on, is this a viable combo line if it is so many steps and so much mana and all these things? And the answer now, after reading it through everything, it really shows like, oh shit, no, this does work. It it really does work because the combo piece includes the silence effect, we're protected. And as long as there's no stack speed stopping us, and even if there is a stack speed stopping us, we're really in that go-to position to go like, I don't give a fuck what you got to say. I'm literally just gonna go. As long as I can get off my 1 tutor, bro, I'm Gucci. I'm good. I don't give a fuck. We good. All right. Now, since we're here, I want to also do the same thing for Hullbreaker Horror, because now you're allowed to ask the question, okay, TTC, I hear you. That's cute. You did it with the Teferi line, but what about this Hullbreaker line? It takes more mana, and you're telling me that you don't even have a built-in silence effect to it? And I say, yes, I think this is still a viable line. We have here the Wishclaw Talisman Hullbreaker Horror combo line. So this combo line allows you to win once again in 1 explosive turn with just Wishclaw Talisman in hand. You have to have, it's a lot of mana, but like I said, this deck does make a lot of mana if we get to that turn 5, 6, which is easy because we're controlling, we're stacking out the game. People are trying to win in bad places in psychology. People get impatient. So we just need 11 colorless, 3 black, 2 blue, and you need 1 extra spell in hand with the mana to cast it. So step 1, same as before, cast Wishclaw Talisman for a colorless and a black. Step 2, you want to immediately activate it using 1 colorless, and you're going to tutor Hullbreaker Horror to your hand. Now you'll pay for step 3, you're going to cast Hullbreaker Horror for 5 colorless and 2 blue. Okay. Next, go to you want to cast 1 extra turn spell in hand. You want to cast the 1 extra spell in your hand to trigger Hullbreaker Horror's ability. If I didn't go over with it, which I didn't, I'll actually go over what Hullbreaker Horror does, which horror with this card is fucking broken. But if you have not already been aware, it is a 7/8 Kraken horror creature with flash, and it says it can't be countered. And it says whenever you cast a spell, choose up to 1. Return target creature you don't control to its owner's hand, or you can return target, this is the one we care about, target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. This is the part we care about. So if we go back to our steps here, we're on this step 3. We cast the Hullbreaker Horror for 5 and 2 blue. Now we go cast 1 extra turn spell in hand and trigger Hullbreaker Horror and target its ability on your own Wishclaw Talisman to return it to your hand. Okay, you're gonna recast Wishclaw Talisman for a colorless and a black, and immediately reactivate it using 1 colorless. And you're gonna tutor a mana rock that can either net or generate mana to your hand. So this is, for example, Grim Monolith, Mana Crypt, Mana Vault, Mox Opal. If you have 2 artifacts in two other artifacts already on board, this could be Soul Ring or whatever not. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna cast Tutor Mana Rock to your You're going to cast a tutor rock that you put in your hand to trigger Hullbreaker Horror again. This time, once again, target your Wishclaw Talisman, put it back to your hand. And you're going to repeat this process again to do it all over again. But when you get to step 7 again, you're going to use the mana rocks you created. So now you have 2 mana rocks. You're going to have Hullbreaker Horror, and you'll have infinite triggers because now all you have to do is switch between the artifact rocks. So if I have for example, I have a Soul Ring and a Mana Vault. Cast Soul Ring, bounce Mana Vault, float 2 mana. I have 2 mana now. You go down to 1, cast Mana Vault, float 3 mana. Now I'm up to 4 mana, and I'm going to go down to 3 to cast Soul Ring, and that will bounce Mana Rod. Now the loop has just gone back to the initial state, and I'm up 3 mana. I can now, and even if I have a Rhystic Study, I'm still up 2 mana. Well, technically at this point, I don't care about a Rhystic Study because at this point, I'm probably going to go do the Grim Monolith. I'm going to do the Wishclaw line again to go find a Silence Effect. But that's not the point. Continue on. I'm going to do this over and over and over and over and over and over and over. And I'm going to make infinite colorless mana. And at this point now, with the infinite mana, or it can be colorless or any color, you're going to win with one of the win cons listed in the outlets and finisher sections. So that's basically how the line works. Once again, it's starting off with a Wishclaw Talisman and one other generic, any spell in hand to just get the chain going to get that bounce effect. Now, note 1. If you only have infinite colorless mana, you can repeat step 5 to 7 again, finding and casting Mana Rock that taps for Wooburg, i.e. you can get Mox Opal, Arcane Signet, Felwar Stone, or one of the talismans by paying life if you don't need infinite colorless mana to win. And this allows you to basically net infinite mana. It's really good. Next, we have note 2. This combo line can be done cheaper. As we said before, there's 2 cheaper methods. First way is same as before. Cast a Wishclaw Talisman earlier, you're good. Nice and simple. Get it, cast it a turn earlier, so now you don't have to pay that extra black and the colors on the turn. But it can be done even cheaper by, if you think, like for example, if you have an opposition agent on board or some other piece to really disincentivize your opponents from using the Wishclaw Talisman, if you cast Wishclaw, crack it, and passed, you could pass. And then now you can do the combo for only 5 colorless and 2 black. Oh, I'm sorry. No. Yeah, on the winning turn, you only need 5 colorless and 2 black. You can untap, cast Hullbreaker Horror immediately in your upkeep or whenever you want to on the winning turn, or no, on the end step. Let me rephrase this. You can reduce it even lower. I.e. you only need 5 colors and 2 black in your winning turn. On the winning turn by tutoring Hullbreaker Horror to hand on the turn before you go for the win and flashing it into the battlefield during your opponent's imp step before the winning turn and completing the line. Now you only need 5 colorless and 2 black. This is a little bit more risky because you're giving an opponent a Wishclaw Talisman and letting them untap with it. But if you have an opposition agent or enough counter magic and the Hullbreaker Horror, which works synergistically with the counter magic, it doesn't really matter that you're giving them the Hullbreaker, the Wishclaw Talisman, because at this point you're making them the threat, and this actually may set you up better for that Hullbreaker line because now your opponents have to use the counter magic against them and not against you. And they don't know you just tutored the Hullbreaker Horror to your hand. Now, there's 2 last things, and I actually will be adding another note to this deck. Big note 3, what will make this line not work? This line does not work if one or more of the following common cEDH staples stacks pieces are on the board, i.e. anything that hurts tutors, remove creatures' abilities, has artifacts ETB into the battlefield taps, or prevents large storm. This is Ava Mind Sensor once again, Blind Obedience, Deafening Silence, Dress Down, Opposition Agent, Orcish Bowmaster, Collector Oof, Notion Thief, or anything akin to the listed. However, and this is the cool thing about Hullbreaker Horror, similar to how Teferi has helpful things, Hullbreaker Horror has helpful things. If you have enough spells in hand to trigger Hullbreaker Horror or other ways to remove these stacks pieces on board, you can still get the win. Now, we've already talked about Hullbreaker Horror, all right? It has 2 great abilities, and to win the game, we're looking to use this return target non-land permanent to the owner's hand to cycle our Wishclaw Talisman and use it multiple times. But remember that it has 2 abilities. Well, it has a lot of abilities, but it has another ability that really matters. Return target spell you don't control to its owner's hand. So, for example, You may not be silenced during this combo, but the minute the Hullbreaker Horror resolves, may I remind you, it can't be countered, which is freaking crazy. Every time your opponents try to interact with you, you can bounce that spell to their hand. And as long as it's not a free spell that has no downside, like the Fierce Guardianship types of spells that or deflecting swats that only need the commander or Deadly Relic, or on the flip side has a what's it called? Or really those are the ones, or like free to cast spells like Mind Break Trap along that line, where like you've already met the condition, so I can just keep casting the spell infinitely. You don't care about that, because eventually, say for instance, they try to source the Plowshare your commander, or to source the Plowshare your Hullbreaker Horror. You can bounce it to their hand, and they say, "Well, I'll cast it again," and say, "All right, I have enough cards in hand. I'm gonna keep bouncing your Swords to Plowshare until you don't have any more white mana." And if you played this right, you're winning after somebody. So they're already low on resources, and a lot of people only have that one white mana to try it one time. So they're going to try the swords, and I'm like, all right, I cast this spell to bounce your spell to hand. Dang it, I can't recast it. Now you're in the good spot. Let's flip to another example. Let's say they do have the Fierce Guardianship to count, or the Deadly Relic. So now they can infinitely bounce they can infinitely recast their Deadly Relic, because it's just like, I don't care because I have my commander. You can just go, okay, cool. In response to Deadly Relic, I'm going to cast one spell, and I'm going to cast any spell, and I'm going to bounce your commander, okay? That bounce hand, they're like, all right, fine. Still in response to Deadly Relic, I'm going to cast another spell, any spell that's instant speed, and I'm going to bounce your Deadly Relic to your hand. Think about that now. They don't control their commander. What they going to do now? Literally, what are they going to do now? They don't have their commander anymore. They can't cast a Deadly Relic. And now you, while not being protected by a silence, have a creature that is both winning you the game and protecting you during that win. For me, this is huge and really shows the power of Hullbreaker Horror as a creature and the power of this second Talisman, Wishclaw Talisman line. I think this is spoken for itself. I really want to get into some games, but I really hope you all, I'm so thankful to Zulu. Thank you again, Zulu, for asking those amazing questions, and really kind of like, I didn't want to waste you all's time. Like, let me go through the lines. Like, these are my lines. I'm so proud of them. No, like, actually, like, I'm really happy because it really allowed me to fully kind of flush these out and really just show the viability, because these are a lot of steps. And if you don't have a way to silence people or to prevent them, because unless they have a stifle or some type of like a stopping effect, which granted, even Trickbind only stops Trickbind, for example. Let's go down to Trickbind. Trickbind only stops activated abilities till the end of turn. It does not stop triggered abilities. It only stops triggered abilities the first time. After that, I can keep doing what I do. So they can Trickbind one Hullbreaker Horror trigger. I'm like, all right, fine, that's good. I'm gonna cast another spell, and it's gonna trigger again. And I'm gonna bounce it. It's amazing. So if you love combo lines, this is great, because these are not just for my deck. If you find in your deck you have a lot of generate a lot of mana, and you're trying to win in that mid-range win after somebody, these are lines that you can actually copy and paste and do in your own life, in your own Esper deck. This is not just for my deck. Any deck that's Esper up and you have the Hullbreaker Horror line in your deck and Wishclaw Talisman, or you have the Teferi Time Raveler line in your deck and Wishclaw Talisman, you can perform this list as well. This is not my combo. I may not be the first, but I will be the first to say these are lines that you have to, every deck has to have a line that can win by just seeing one card. Okay? I don't care how much mana it takes. You saying on turn 8, if I top deck this one card, I win the game. That is deck viability. That is power level, and that is how you surprise your opponents with explosivity and consistency. Because now, as long as I have an artifact tutor or a anything tutor, I can get Wishclaw Talisman, go through my line, and win the game. So that's all for this deck breakdown. I'm gonna go to some gameplay. We're gonna get into the lobby. We're gonna start playing. while we're here, I want to say, first of all, thank you for everybody's in the chat right now. Shout out to each and every one of you all. You are amazing. This is only possible because of you all's amazing support. If you're on YouTube, I've already said this, make sure you like and subscribe. If you're on Twitch, make sure you follow and get included in the community. We have so many ways. First of all, with just getting in the chat, like my guy Zulu, EDA Senpai, and all the other people who naturally just get into the chat. Just get in the chat and get involved. Also, if you're looking for ways to financially support the channel, we have first our ThunderConductor Proxy line, where I make premium paperback proxies. You can see from my MARNEUS deck, these are all premium paperback proxies that are made by yours truly, and all the funding goes to keeping the lights on, allowing us to get the materials we need to put on the stream. We also have our Patreon that gives you access to additional content, but also gives you access to our premium and exclusive Discord community, extra access to extra tabs that we could talk Magic the Gathering music. I'm a professional musician and I love Magic the Gathering. That's why I'm ThunderConductor. Shout out to Survive ThunderConductor, the original commander I ever played with. But I love Magic music, and being able to get you all in that exclusive community for as little as $5 per month allows you to really get into that access to just seeing another part of me and stay connected with me even more. And lastly, say if you don't want to, like, look, TTC, I don't want to be no part of no community. I don't need no proxies. I just want to throw you a little tip. Link in the bio. You can just simply just throw us a little tip, and you also, whether you want it or not, you will get a little notification up there. So if you want to give us as small as $5, just a little tip right there, it allows you to support the show and keep us going with these bi-weekly live streams. But with that said, never mind the line. Oh yeah, but with all that said, we're about to get to some live gameplay. Let me check. My guy Sula says, can I make a suggestion for a similar line? How that I think of it? Or Zeus said, never mind, that line I'm thinking of it doesn't work. Oh, okay, yeah. Well, with that said, we're going to take a small break. And when we get back, we're going to be getting into a lobby. We're going to get it going, just jump into gameplay. And we're going to see how viable is MARNEUS CALGAR in cEDH. We'll be back.